Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to be showcasing how to use the new foliage mode in UEFN. Now I'm just going to throw a quick disclaimer. This wasn't mentioned in the patch notes, so Epic could disable it. I'm not 100% sure, but currently it's a thing. It's found within where you obviously pick landscape, modeling, animations, and you can currently use it, load games with it, as far as the testing I've done goes. Now, I haven't gone too in-depth with it because I want to try and get this video out as quickly as possible so you guys can mess around with it and push it to its limits as well. So how you first of all get it started is you have to select the foliage mode first, which you can do by going up there and clicking foliage, or also Shift+3. And then once you actually have it, you want to make sure you have the paint mode selected, and then you want to click here the plus foliage. And that will let you create a new foliage. If you have one, it'll be listed here. If you don't, you'll be able to create a new static mesh foliage, which if you do, it'll make one automatically for you, where you can then name it whatever you want. I already have a few made, so let's open up this one I've made for trees. Once again, all you need to do is pick the static mesh you want. So if you have a custom one, you can pick that. If you want to use one from Fortnite's list, which they don't really have many grass or trees, I have a custom one of the jungle tree. You can then customize a lot of the settings. A few settings that I will mention is C offset. That obviously does it so the Z location is offset by the minimum amount and max amount. Now, one thing you might have to mess with is the ground slope angle. Currently, I think by default it's 0 and 45, but I found that might not work in some cases, and sometimes trees might be floating and grass might be floating. So if that does happen, you might need to mess with them a little bit more. All I have changed is the collision right here. I've changed that to fork static mesh because I'm trying to paint trees. We don't want players to walk through the tree. And I think by default, this is on no collision, but we obviously want collision. If you're doing things like grass or anything, then you won't want to change this, as you don't want people to walk through the grass. Now, once again, you can mess with all of these settings. Every single setting can be adjusted and messed with. There are also custom settings if we quickly just go back up to here. I don't exactly know what these do, as I haven't messed with them, but you guys can and see what they do. The growth sounds really cool. It would be cool if they can like grow up stages, and that's what it looks like it can do. And to add your custom material, you just need to go to the very top and override material, which you can do if we just add a random one. Let's add that. That obviously means nothing. We then want to save this. Once you've saved it, you will then want to drag your foliage, but you can do it just by clicking that again and clicking your trees. And then you want to make sure you have it selected. At the top there is unticked and ticked. You want to make sure you have it ticked, otherwise you won't see this blue circle. And then you want to mess with a few settings in here. A few that you want to mess with is probably density. That means how common your grass is. If we have this quite high, the trees will be closer together. So if you want to make a dense jungle, you want this to be higher. If you want them to be spaced out like these ones right here, you want this to be lower. Radius is the minimum distance between foliage instances. I'm not too sure what this is tracked in. I don't know if it's tracked in blocks or anything like that. So I'm not too sure. 30 is what I've got it at, but I have been changing that. The next thing is scaling. If you want all your foliage to be one scale, you can keep this on uniform. But if you want them to vary in size, say you want maybe some big bushes and some little bushes, you can then do the scale of X, Y, and Z, and you can change them to the minimum they can be and the maximum size they can be. And then all the stuff down here is already stuff we have messed with, but you can also mess with it within this menu here. You don't need to go to the other menu that we was in every single time. But let's now show you how it works. So if you have the paint mode selected and you also have your mesh selected, there are also some filters right here where you can tick and untick what it will paint on. As you can see, foliage will place on landscapes. You can also tick it and untick it so it will place on static meshes and also translucent blocks. We only want it on landscapes. That is all we have ticked. And if I now paint, as you can see, we do get a warning here. I've read the warning. It don't seem to be anything major. But as you can see, now that I've painted, it has created the trees around the island. Now, there are some cases where they're really close together like this, and that's probably what that minimum radius is for. so we could mess with that a little bit more as well. But there is another good thing. So let's say we now want to paint over here. As you can see, some of them have gone off the island. This one here, for example. Well, how we fix that is you go to select, you then click on that one, and then you can just click delete. And that will only delete the one that you have selected. These ones right here, again, are falling off the island, so we don't want them ones, so we're going to delete them ones. If you do want them, but you just don't want them where they are, you can also just move them by clicking them and then dragging them. If you click the erase tool, that does it so it will erase where you paint, so you can erase certain areas. But that is where I'm going to end this video. It's just a very quick one to show you how to use this tool, as it's really good. As you can see, I have just made like an island right here filled with trees within a matter of seconds. I will have to go through and neaten some of them up like these that are floating. But it's really cool, and you don't need to do trees. You can do things like rocks, if you want rocks randomly placed. You can do things like pebbles. You can have like weird random statues placed around the island. It's such a cool and OP tool that UEFN needed, and it's so good that it has it so early on. But anyway, if you did enjoy, do leave a like and subscribe. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll try and answer them the best I possibly can. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.